History is not just about the throne wars of kings and queens. Some rulers lived such extraordinary lives that their names continue to be whispered from generation to generation, even centuries later. Akhenaten, Egypt's controversial revolutionary. In the millennial-long journey of Egyptian history, few rulers have sparked as much debate as Akhenaten. His reign, which lasted less than 20 years, was recorded as a period filled with political, social, and religious upheavals. When he ascended the throne, he set out not only to transform Egypt's religious structure, but also to reshape its art, architecture, and even the very capital of the state. Turning his back on the traditional gods, Akhenaten promoted a new belief system centered on Aten, symbolized by the sun disk. The impact of this change was so profound that even during the glorious days of the 18th dynasty, its traces could not be erased. Born with the name Amenhotep, meaning Amun is satisfied, the king changed his name in the 5th year of his reign to Akhenaten, meaning effective for Aten. Alongside this new religious understanding, art also took a different path. The royal family began to be depicted in styles that broke away from traditional forms, more androgynous and exaggerated. Elongated necks, narrow shoulders, pronounced stomachs, and striking facial features. This artistic shift marked an unprecedented turning point in Egyptian art. One of Akhenaten's most radical moves was relocating the Egyptian capital from Thebes to a previously uninhabited site, Amarna. Naming it Akhenaten, or the horizon where Aten appears, the king ensured the city's rapid construction. The new capital became a symbol of revolutionary change in both political and religious terms. The circumstances of Akhenaten's death remain shrouded in mystery. While the date is generally placed around 1336-1334 BCE, the exact cause is unknown. Incomplete features of his royal tomb and questions surrounding the fate of his remains have fueled speculation. The skeleton discovered in tomb V55 has been suggested to be his, but the issue continues to be at the center of Egyptological debates. Timur, the nomadic warrior's imperial dream. In the late 14th century, rising from the steppes of Central Asia, Timur carved his place in history with both the brutality of his conquests and the cultural legacy he left behind. Born in 1336, Timur came from the Turkicized Barlas clan of the Chagatai Khanate. In his early years, he took part in regional conflicts. In intrigue, alliances, and warfare, he consolidated his power and proclaimed his rule in Samarkand in 1370. Timur first subdued neighboring khanates, then launched sweeping campaigns across Iran, the Caucasus, Mesopotamia, and Anatolia. In 1391 and 1395, he defeated the Golden Horde's Toktamish, advancing deep into the Russian steppes. In 1398, he invaded India, capturing Delhi and leaving the city in ruins. His victory over Ottoman Sultan Bayezid I at the Battle of Ankara in 1402 brought his fame to its peak. Timur was ruthless on the killing battle. In crushing revolts, he razed cities, massacred thousands, and even constructed towers out of his enemies' skulls. Yet he simultaneously sought to transform Samarkand into a center of culture and science. The architecture of the city made it the heart of a Timurid renaissance. In 1405, Timur set out for a campaign against China, but fell ill in Otrar and died. He was buried in the Gur-e-Amir mausoleum in Samarkand. Although his empire fragmented among his sons after his death, his descendants carried on his legacy. Among them, Ulugh Beg stood out with his achievements in science and culture, while Babur, founder of the Mughal Empire, also traced his lineage back to Timur. Timur is remembered in history as a symbol of both destruction and magnificence. On one hand, his bloody campaigns spread terror, but on the other, he left behind a dynasty that enriched Central Asia culturally. Catherine the Great, Russia's enlightened empress. Catherine II, Catherine the Great, was born in Stettin, Prussia in 1729 into a noble but poor family under the name Sophie Friedrich August von Anhalt-Zerbst. Educated by French tutors, she grew up intelligent, energetic, and ambitious. Her mother, Johanna, was determined to marry her into royalty and actively introduced her to influential courts. At the age of 15, she met the future Tsar of Russia, Peter. In 1744, she traveled to Russia, converted to the Orthodox faith, and took the name Catherine. A year later, in 1745, she married Peter. The marriage, however, was unhappy, as Catherine proved to be far more politically capable than her husband. When Peter III came to the throne in 1762, he quickly lost support. With the help of the Orloff brothers, Catherine staged a coup, deposed Peter, and shortly afterward he died under suspicious circumstances. Thus, Catherine II became the sole ruler of Russia. Reforms and modernization. During her 34-year reign, she transformed Russia into one of Europe's great powers. Education. Opened the first state school for girls, introduced a European-style curriculum, and established teacher training systems. Administration. Reorganized provinces, modernized courts, and set up social welfare institutions. Culture. Corresponded with French Enlightenment thinkers and founded the Hermitage Museum, turning Russia into a cultural center. Religion. Secularized church lands, issued decrees regulating the rights of Muslims and Jews, and took steps toward secularization. Wars and diplomacy. Under Catherine, Russia fought wars against the Ottoman Empire, annexed Crimea, and expanded to the Black Sea. She played a key role in the partition of Poland and established Russia as a major force in European diplomacy. She also engaged in peace initiatives and international mediation. Society and rebellions. Catherine did not abolish serfdom. In fact, she sometimes reinforced it. This led to large-scale uprisings such as the Pugachev Rebellion. Death and legacy. Catherine died of a stroke on November 17, 1996. She left behind a Russia that was stronger both militarily and culturally, remembered as an enlightened despot. Her intelligence, determination, and modernization policies secured her place as one of history's most powerful female rulers. Frederick II, Frederick the Great. Frederick II ruled Prussia from 1740 to 1786. With his military genius and political maneuvering, he transformed Prussia from a relatively small state into one of Europe's most formidable powers. Influenced by Enlightenment thought, he is regarded as an enlightened despot who was deeply devoted to art and philosophy, embraced French culture, and built the famous Sanssouci Palace. Youth and access. Raised under strict discipline, Frederick often clashed with his father, King Frederick William I. Passionate about literature and the arts, he was frequently punished, and after an attempted escape, he was imprisoned while his close friend was executed. When he ascended to the throne in 1740, he quickly reshaped the balance of power in Europe. Wars and diplomacy. Silesian Wars from 1740 to 1745 seized the wealthy region of Silesia from Austria, elevating Prussia to a great power. 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, fought for survival against Russia, Austria, and France. Despite heavy losses, Prussia endured and retained Silesia. Later years. Continued rivalry with Austria. In 1778, secured diplomatic success in the War of Bavarian Succession, and in 1785, united German princes against Austrian dominance. Domestic policies and governance. Frederick viewed kingship as a personal duty, placing the interests of the state above all. Military. The army was the backbone of his rule. He expanded it from 83,000 to 190,000 men, though this placed heavy burdens on peasants through taxes and conscription. Economy. Followed mercantilist policies, restricted imports, and promoted industries such as textiles and porcelain, though many ventures proved inefficient. Society. Advocated religious tolerance and sought simplicity and rationality in law, but remained tied to the Junker aristocracy, who dominated land and serfs. Legacy. Frederick the Great is remembered as both a brilliant strategist and one of the foremost rulers shaped by Enlightenment ideas. Under his reign, Prussia emerged as a decisive European power. Yet his achievements came at the cost of harsh militarism and heavy burdens on the common people.